Hey y'all, welcome back to another What's for Dinner. Today I'm bringing you 3 meal ideas that only require 5 ingredients or less. So if you're in need of some dinner ideas, I'm so glad that you're here today. These are some favorites here at our house. We're going to go ahead and start with this stovetop potato soup. You can absolutely do this in a crock pot, but if you're in a pinch for time, the stovetop is perfectly fine. It doesn't take any time at all. So what you're going to need is a 32-ounce bag of frozen cubed potatoes, 10.5-ounce can of cream of chicken soup. I really like the one with herbs. It just adds so much good flavor to it. A 32-ounce box of chicken stock and 1 ranch packet, and also 1 8-ounce box of cream cheese. So I like to add everything and bring it to a simmer, and then lastly add my cream cheese. I like to go ahead and try to get this as mixed up as possible. That way there's no globs or lumps of this soup in there. I just like to make sure that it's all incorporated, and then once I get it up to a simmer, I will add my cream cheese. I also like to let my cream cheese sit out for a while just to let it get to room temp. I don't usually like to put cold cream cheese into a hot mixture, but I know you guys know what you're doing. But yeah, just kind of make sure that it's at a room temperature. I promise you it will go a lot smoother. So I'll let this simmer for about 20 or 30 minutes, and in the meantime I will get my sides together, whatever it is that I decide to make that night. And on this night I ended up making the Pillsbury cornbread swirls. Those things are so stinking good. If you guys have not tried them, and if you have them at your store, definitely go and check them out. You can also do this with the shredded potatoes, but I honestly feel like the cubed potatoes come out so much better. I don't know why. I just feel like the shredded ones just get kind of really mushy and they don't hold up as well. I will take my spatula and kind of mush these down towards the end of their cooking cycle, so to speak, just to kind of help it get, a little bit creamier. But I also add salt and pepper to taste. You can add any kind of seasonings that you want to this dish. And if you're going to do it in a crock pot, I just kind of do this like I do everything else. You can put this on low for 6 hours or high for 4 hours. This is definitely a dump and go that you can do, or again, something that you can do if you are running late in the evenings, or if you've got sports or dance or anything like that, and you just kind of need to get a meal together fairly quickly. This does not take long at all. It also freezes well. I have done that one time, and I didn't really have it in my freezer that long. I think it was only in there for 2 days before I got it out and reheated it. So I'm not quite sure what to tell you as to how long this will keep frozen, but it tasted perfect 2 days later. Also, as far as toppings, we just use cheese. Sometimes I use chives. I did not have any on this day. Also, bacon, if you want to make some bacon and crumble that on top, that would be really fun with this too. You can add any kind of cheese that you want. We just kind of like to do it pretty plain, but it's so good and so easy. Sometimes I just get this hunger for a really good soup, and potato soup and tomato soup are my favorites, and I don't like to sit and take all the time that it takes to peel potatoes, dice potatoes, and all of that good stuff. This is really just a good semi-homemade soup, and I just love it, especially when it's cold outside, and it's very filling too. Definitely one of our favorites. Next up, we have Crockpot chicken and stuffing. Now, I'm going to tell you something. This is not going to win a beauty award at the next county fair, okay? This is not going to look appetizing, but I promise you, it is delicious. So you're going to go ahead and start out by adding a liner to your crock pot, unless you are absolutely crazy and just love to scrub your crock pot. I don't. I'm going to go ahead and add some chicken tenders to mine. I didn't have any chicken breasts, but I had chicken tenders. You can either do it this way or just add like 3 good sized chicken breast to the bottom of your crock pot. You can also either use cream of chicken or cream of mushroom, whichever you prefer. This is literally just going to be whatever flavors that you like. I always kind of like to dollop my soups on top just so I can make sure that everything gets covered and I don't just have one big glob of soup in there. You can also season your chicken before you put this in as well. I'm going to go ahead and add all of this to my crock pot. I'm going to turn this up. I think I put this on high for about 4 hours, and then just make sure you keep an eye on this. Once your chicken is done and it's easily shreddable, also add a can of water to this as well. Sorry, I don't think I mentioned that. Once it's shreddable, you can either leave it that way or you can go ahead and shred your chicken however you prefer. And then once you get to your 4-hour mark, you're going to go ahead and take your box of stuffing. I use the chicken stuffing. You can use, again, whatever you like, whatever your family enjoys. I'm going to go ahead and dump that on top, and then I'm going to glob a big old thing of butter on top of that. I'm going to add the lid back, and then I'm going to let that cook for about another 30 minutes, or at least however long it takes for that stuffing to get done. And then that's it. That's all you need, just those 3 things. It doesn't look great, but it is amazing. You can put this over mashed potatoes. You can have, sides of green beans, broccoli, whatever you'd like. Lastly, we're going to do these sheet pan sliders. Now, again, this is just how my house is. I didn't have everything I needed. This usually requires 1.5 pounds of ground beef or ground chuck. I only had a pound, but it worked out perfectly fine. I'm going to go ahead and get that in my bowl. I'm going to slap my gloves on because this hamburger was so cold, I couldn't hardly feel my fingertips. I went ahead and seasoned this up with the McCormick. I don't remember what the name of it is, but it's got like the onion, the garlic, the salt, and the pepper. I really love this. I don't know why I had not been using this before or hadn't even seen it, but I just recently found this at Walmart and I'm putting this on everything. I also went ahead and used a little bit of Lea & Perrins. I'm not even going to attempt the W word because I can't, but I also love to put this in our hamburgers. It just gives it such a good flavor. If you don't have any of this, liquid smoke is good too. I didn't have any of that or else I would have used it, but we're going to go ahead and get this all nice and mixed up. Then we're going to get our sheet pan out, and I like to line mine with parchment paper. It just really helps with cleanup. If you don't want to use your sheet pan, you can also use a 9x13 baking dish. That really works just as well, to be honest with you. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and patty this out. And I like to try to get mine as thin as possible and just really make sure that this is going to be wide enough for my rolls. Also, you want to try to get this into like a rectangular shape because we're just going to be making one huge patty with this. Now, I like to use the sweet Hawaiian rolls. You can use whatever you want to, but just as long as they are the slider size, because basically that's what you're doing. You're just making the little sliders. But I've also got my oven preheating to 350. And this is another thing that I love. You can do these for parties, game nights, just a little quick dinner like this. Kids are going to love these. These are really a hit. You really can't go wrong with these. You can add cheese to them. You can add whatever toppings that you'd like. I generally don't like to put condiments in the oven. I've seen a lot of people do these a lot of different ways, but I really don't like to do it that way. You can definitely do it once they come out, but I just went ahead and did some cheese and then some of the, what are these called? The little onions, the little like the French's onion, those crispy fried onions. That's what I liked on mine. That way they don't get all soggy and nasty. But I just went ahead and put that on top, and then I'm going to put that back into the oven just long enough for that cheese to melt. As you can see, this burger really shrank up, but it worked out just fine. That's kind of why you really need 1.5 pounds or even 2 pounds. That way you can make sure that you can cover all of your rolls. Now, I used Colby Jack, but you can definitely use whatever your little heart desires. You can get really fancy with it. You can just use American cheese. You can use pepper jack cheese. You don't even have to put cheese on it if you don't want to. But again, I'm just going to go ahead and get this right here on top. I'm going to throw that back into the oven to let that melt. Also, if you have cheese, don't forget to pay your cheese tax. And while that is melting in the oven, you can go ahead and get your rolls out and just cut these all the way in half. Just make sure that you get them cut all the way through. That way you've got just like a big top and a bottom bun, if that makes sense. Also, I decided this time to go ahead and mix up some butter and garlic and put that on top, and that made it really, really good too. I've seen a lot of people do these a lot of different ways. You can make little pepperonis with these with some mozzarella cheese. You can do anything that your heart desires, but on this night we ended up doing the cheeseburgers, and they were so incredibly good. Another thing is, when you are pattying this out so thin, it really doesn't take any time at all for this to cook. Here is probably where you can go ahead and put any condiments on there that you like. You can do regular onions, pickles, relish, your mustard, ketchup, mayonnaise, anything that you want, and it's just going to be delicious. Lettuce too, if you want to do that. But after you get these out of the oven, they're going to be so gooey and so yummy. You're just going to go ahead and take a knife, or you can actually use a pizza cutter if that's not going to work for you. You can get all of these cut up and serve them that way. And we just ended up serving these with some seasoned French fries. It was so good. It didn't take hardly any time at all. And again, this is one of our favorites here in the house. But I really appreciate you guys coming to watch today. If you try any of these, make sure to come back and let me know in the comments if there's anything that you would like to see me make. Also, let me know that in the comments. But if you enjoyed this video, let me know by giving it a thumbs up. It really helps out my channel. Also, make sure to subscribe and come back for more. But I gotta go. I love you and appreciate you, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.